How far did you get when you guys ran away from here?
The furthest I made one time to Buffalo.
Okay.
Most of the time I was up on Bryant Hill. They'd feed me and then bring me back.
What was your maiden name? Cook? Cook. Oh, where were you from?
Onondaga.
Oh, Onondaga. Where do you live now?
Onondaga.
Okay, very good.
Onondaga.
You're from Onondaga? You're from here? Yeah, because I recognize you.
Well, we're going to take her home with us.
No, you can't. We need her.
We're on our own. You broke your constitutions on
If you can't hear me, we'll have to announce the winner.
I said, we don't have to send our kids to your state schools. We don't have to send our boys to the service.
You don't care? Nobody
On
cares?
our own. You go to hell.
Nobody cares?
Okay, I remember you last year, you were here. No, the year before. Are you Cassie's boy?
Enjoy your dinner.
Okay, but let me buy some 50-50
Right.
drawing.
Okay, 50-50, and then we have T-shirts, and then we have sign in.
Oh, okay. Where?
Okay, here's your coffee cup.
Thank you. After Williamsburg,
And then you went to Kansas.
I went to Albuquerque, Mexico for a nurse, 3 months.
Did you come up for the reunion? You're here for the reunion?
Yeah, but I'm living in Buffalo now.
Oh, yeah.
I've been around.
She's married a Potawatomi Indian from Kansas.
Yep. I never even knew I had 2 brothers and a sister. And I didn't even know I had brother and sister Albert and Alberta until they were 2 years old. I never saw them. I never saw you guys until you were 2 years old. Because they're always having somebody watching me all the time. I was going back and forth to Buffalo to one of our aunts, or our grandparents would watch me. But I never saw you at the house when I was at the house. That was,
I don't remember
I thought that was terrible.
I was a little bit younger than her.
And then when we were there, they wouldn't let us talk to our own brothers and sisters.
The shining cataract, yes, with its clear expanse, stands our noble institution, stands for our advance, thanks to her devoted founders, striving for the right, who amid the lonely forest brought her first to light. Works the watchword, wafted onward, love shall be our rule. Truth will triumph when it's spoken for our Indian school. What though tasks are sometimes irksome, what though skies are gray, cheer and courage to our sadness soon will drive away, and tomorrow's summer brightly on our path shall be, if we try to shun the darkness and to find the gleam.
I'm Jackie Bennett, and I'm just me.
What's your function here at the library?
Oh, I was just volunteering with this exhibit. I was just helping my sister with this exhibit. I don't actually work here. I used to, a number of years ago. I used to work here, but now I just helped her with the displays that are up. And we've been at it for like 2 weeks, getting things sorted and organized. A lot of the elderly people, these things happen to them long before their memory. You know, it's not like you can say when I was 2 years old this happened and now I'm 80 and so I act like this.
Did you go to the school?
No. Well, I went to school there for 3 years, but I didn't live there.
They refer to you guys as the outsiders.
Yeah, and that was before my time. When I went to school there, we were either resident or non-resident. And then we had bussers and walkers.
Okay, my name is Jerry Gates. I'm from the Seneca Nation Library Board, and we have coordinated this event. And what we want to do now is have a panel of people to speak about their experiences. They're all residents or workers that were here at that time. They will tell their experiences when they were there. It's kind of like an interactive thing. There'll be time for people to ask questions if they have any questions, but we would like the panel to sit at this table, and there's 5 of them, and then everyone else can sit. There's chairs. We will be bringing them forward so people can sit, have some place to sit where they can be within hearing range.
Hello. My name is Joan Krause Jones, and I came here in 1942 and left in 1951 to go to the Carlisle Indian School in Oklahoma, where I graduated from high school because it was easy. It was a government Indian school. Then I graduated from there and went to high school Indian school for 2 years. I came back and I started working here in 54. I worked for Miss Kincaid and Dr. Sclero. And that's it.
Hi, I'm Lenny Kettle, and I don't know when I came to the Thomas Asylum School in 42 or so, about 3 before I was 4 years old. My dad couldn't take care of us. There was my sister, my brother, my sister, and another sister, so it was 4 of us. And he couldn't support all of us, so he sent us here. Yes, that's what I understood. Yeah, it was fun, I guess. It wasn't like we were in prison or nothing, but we had to march and, you know, in line and get up early and do your chores, but you couldn't speak English. That's one thing I wanted to say. You couldn't speak. You had to speak Indian. I mean, couldn't speak. Excuse me. You couldn't speak Indian. You got your mouth washed out with soap, terrible soap. It was lye soap, and washed out, and then spanked with a rubber hose, and stood in the corner. That happened a couple times, and I was talking with my brother. My brother spoke Seneca too, so we conversed, I guess, and then I don't remember what it was, and that was beat out of you. And I guess you just learn not to speak anymore. And so kind of lost it. But I know a little bit of it now.
I'm Frida Kraft Morse, and I was born on a Tuscarora Indian reservation. I'm not Tuscarora, I'm Upper Cayuga, and my mother died when I was 2, and we were taken and put in a orphanage in New York, in Buffalo, New York, and until I was 4, and then went to Thomas Indian School. My father was alcoholic, so he didn't have the time or day for us. So there was 4 boys and me, and I remember little bits and pieces of when I was young, very unhappy because I never knew that my mother had died. And but as the years went by, I adjusted to the lifestyle of the short bangs and the short hair and the little jumpsuits we have and our stockings we rolled down with our rubber bands. But as life went on, you know, you settle in and you adjust to it. And but what I get out of all this, I never knew what love was, never, and I had to find that, you know, because nobody had time to take us and sit down and sit us down on their knee and say, you know, or give us a hug and say I love you. And I had to learn that, and it was very hard for me along the way. And but I learned it, and from when I was 13, I spent 10 years there, and then I went to Shilako. But I didn't graduate from there. I know it was easy, but at that time I married a young man from Oklahoma, an Indian man, and had four beautiful children from there. And then I now reside in Ohio, and I come back here every year for this. I look forward to this, seeing my friends, and I love them all. So I just I'm glad that I can stand up here and talk about the past and be happy about it now, because I've learned a lot from it, and I'm just glad I'm here.
I went down to school in 1940 to 1953, where I graduated from going to high school. I was just looking at the pictures over there of our beds, and we used to call them the boat beds because everybody, I don't know how many kids had slept in it before us, and they were just really sunk in. And you keep nice and warm because the covers would come over the top. Then I can remember jumping from bed to bed to bed. Then when the house mother would come, we'd just get in whatever bed. There might be 2, 3 in one bed, you know. But I had a lot of fun down there. I took sports, played basketball. Probably seen some pictures over there. I played basketball. I liked the swimming, and we had chores to do. And I guess I was in the kitchen with my friend Mrs. Canfield, and I'm still working in the kitchen. And but I had a good time. I really made the best of the situation, and it's always good to come back and see everybody here. And that's it. The end.
Okay, I was thinking that maybe if we wanted to, people would want to hear a little bit about your daily life. I suspect it was very routine. Maybe you were governed by a whistle or something, or was someone knocking at your door to tell you it's time to do this or do that, or could you tell some experience about that? What was your daily life like? You had a schedule that you did? You went to breakfast a certain time, or what? You know, tell us a little bit about your life there.
We had a whistle that blew every so often, so we knew what time it was. Time to get up, what time to go to lunch, what time to go to bed, time to eat supper.
We had a bell. Used to ring a bell.
Yeah, I remember a bell.
Yeah,
And then when we got in the dining room, we'd have to say blessing by a bell.
Was it something that was memorized, a blessing that was memorized?
Yeah, we had 2
Do you
of
know
them.
what it is now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys say it now for us? Do you remember it?
Now we thank thee,
Father in heaven, for this food which thou hast given. Bless us all as we partake, and give us strength for Jesus' sake.
And then the other one. I came across in one of the reports that was annual reports that were sent to the state, there was like a little brief section in there about cheerleading, and this person, whoever was writing the article, said they go to other schools to the games and they all have cheerleaders. How come we don't have a cheerleader? How come we don't have cheerleaders? And they said we could get a bunch of girls together and have a cheerleading squad. Do you know, was there ever a cheerleading squad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Noreen was a cheerleader.
You were a cheerleader? Do you remember any of the cheers?
Nope.
There was a cheer.
I remember one. What was it, Jim? Big Chief, Little Chief, Papu Squad, Thomas Indians, rah rah.
I remember one, Jerry.
Okay.
It's Thomas Indian J. We're going to win today. We got the team. We got the fight. We're going to win for sure tonight. So fight, team. Fight, team. Fight, fight, fight.
Show us your jump.
So did you wear uniforms for that?
We made them.
You made your own uniforms,
Did you?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody took sewing when they were young?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so many people.
Yeah.
So for 8 hours.
You sew for 8 hours.
I never seen for 8 hours.
So what did the guys do, Lenny?
Work.
We worked.
You guys had to work, you had to work on
Yeah.
farm.
They did the
Go to the
farming.
farm, yeah.
Mhm. I see in the reports that there were like 30 cows, and so that was the finest butter in the area, the article said.
Best milk.
The best
So-
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing, we never had to long for food. We had plenty of food.
130.
Yeah, because they raised everything.
Uh-huh.
We furnished the state hospital with all their produce
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
and milk.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so, and food was it sold to other like local
Not
stores or
that I know
anything?
of.
Or just
Exchanged.
Yeah.
Remember Mr. Levan Eels?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he came up to me one time, and this is before he died anyway. But he came up, we was down in Allegheny, and he came down to the church down there. And I didn't know he was there, and he came up behind me, and he says, I seen you stuck out behind that Wells building, weeding off. I'm going to sell it on you. What did he say?
He's gonna tell on you.
Yeah, he seen you smoking, he's gonna tell on you. But, and he'd come up every once in a while and he'd say, a few things, different times he'd come, he'd think of something, and he'd say it in, language, sound language or whatever. But I remember they had chink, what's chink?
Money.
And what's, what else? Oh, I thought of a few things, but I can't think of them now. Well, even when you made plug cake too, I was just thinking of different things that you could make. Used to make dice, let them dry up and poke the holes in them, roll them, make marbles, and everything.
Put them on their teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, put them on your teeth, maybe like you're knocked out or something. But there was, everybody had a nickname, and a lot of times the guys, you didn't know their name. They're like, well, Skunk, I don't know Skunk's name, but. Yeah, but you grew up just knowing their name, Haas, what's Haas' name?
Wilcie
Wilcie, yeah. Right. Everybody had a nickname.
To get our hair rinsed with, what was that?
Kerosene.
Vinegar.
Yeah.
Was it kerosene? Yeah. Where we went to school there, they had, we used to call the kids on the reservation outsiders. And, somebody would come in with lice.
Oh, yeah.
And then if they found it, then one person, everybody would have to get their heads rinsed out. And this went on just about every week for a long time. And I used to hate that because it used to get in my eyes. I used to open up my eye and my eye would get all red and sore. And didn't like that.
The kerosene rinse,
Yeah.
I remember that too, but my father used to do that when we'd come home that way from school. Because I was an outsider, we'd come here to school and we'd go home with lice, so my dad would.
Probably blamed us.
You were saying, what did you carry over when you became an adult? They told us one time, and that's all. They told you one time to do something, you did it. There was no 2 or 3 times, one time. And that's what I did with my children. I tell you one time, and that's all. And I grew up with that with them, But like we were saying about our identity, we kind of lost our identity when we were children. Because we didn't have the love, we didn't have the nourishing that we needed. The worst thing that I remember were the thunderstorms. They scared me. I hated them. And to this day, my husband will tell you, I'm still afraid of a thunderstorm. And that's when I wish that, I had my mother or someone there to hold me through it, So it was for me, it was, I lost my identity, and I could hardly wait to get away from here. I said, I'm never coming back. And I went through that whole cycle of not knowing who I was or where I was, you know. And I was ashamed to tell people I was an Indian. I grew up that way, you know. I mean, you hear, you know, they tried to make you white. And then you got out and you didn't know who you were. You weren't white, you weren't accepted there, and you weren't Indian either. I mean, you know, because I grew up, you know, being ashamed of what I was. And I've gone full circle, I'm back.
We're good cleaners.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. You know, I really had a problem because every Saturday we used to have to, regardless of the floor, you know, we had wax on the floor. We had to strip the wax off, take everything out and do this every Saturday. So when I got married, I found myself doing this. And I was really like being in control when I didn't need to be. I mean, it was bad, really.
Built right in.
Yeah, and I found myself like I had to do everything at a certain time. I couldn't get out of that. I finally got myself out, but it took years of working at it. I seen what I was. Well, one thing for sure, I had to go to a doctor, and he told me. And I told him the story of my life. And he told me what to do. And he told me that it's going to either kill you or you're going to have to get out of that because you don't need that. It's too much stress on you.
That's easier said than done, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it took years, and I finally, I did get out of that habit where I thought that I had to do everything. But my first children that I had, I remember I was doing the same thing to them every Saturday. And I caught myself at doing it, but I changed, and I'm glad that I did. And they still love me so.
I don't care what, I needed that discipline, you know. Of course, I was used to it. My dad ran our home like a military school anyways, you know. So when I came here, I got some more of it, sort of. It didn't bother me. It was a little more mild, in fact. And so that's how we were raised, in a very strict military style at my home. What was it? We had high expectations of us. And my dad used to come up and talk to the teachers here, and he said, Rhodey doesn't perform, she doesn't do what she's supposed to do, you let me know. And she'll get it twice at home. And I did. And they did report to him, you know. And it was part of a big plan. And I think that's the history that our kids don't know, and they've got to know why. So we don't keep falling into it and repeating it. And it was all about alienating families. It was all part of the great plan from day one when the people came here to overrun us. And I think we were all victims of it in one way or another. Most of us, I think what we learned was to survive. But that's what it taught you, all the heartache and hard times you went through and the deprivations you went through and the lack of love. That's the biggest she's right about that. Frida's right about that lack of love, because that's what they took away from us. Even in my own home when I was growing up, that was taken away from me. I lived with my parents, you know. Us 4 girls lived with our parents. And we didn't have that in our home. Although we all lived together, we never had that. It was run like a military school in our home. And I never knew what that was, so I grew up and had my kids. I was you're not trusting. You're not secure because you don't know that kind of parental love from your family. You have to learn it. So I can sympathize with Frida because I grew up my whole life like that without that kind of parental love. Discipline, yes, caring for us, roof over our heads, clothes. We had plenty to eat, but I was starving for that love, you know. My whole life, my mother never said she loved me, and we were all in the same house. My dad never said that to me. He didn't like to touch us. My mother would only hold us when we were little, when we were sick, and she took good care of us. So I guess that was her way of showing it. But don't forget, they came from boarding schools. And the only thing they kept telling us was, you've got to be better, if not as good as the white man. I heard that from the time I was 8 years old. You've got to be as good or not better than them. You've got to show them. I always had this idea, I got to show them, I got to perform. For what, you know? I was shooting for the wrong thing, really. But that's how good the civilization teaching got to them. They learned it real well. They were fluent speakers of Seneca. They didn't teach us one word. not one word. The minute they'd be talking, we walk in the room, they stop. And I used to say, why don't you talk to us like that? Oh, go play. Go do your work. You know, so you soon learn not to ask anymore. You know. So, but I learned to survive, though, just fighting against that. So I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm going to get out of here okay.
I think we could probably close. I want to thank everyone for coming. This has really been an interesting afternoon, and I think there's so much more that we could learn about this, and it just would be so beneficial for our young people. And it's really true, the younger ones don't know very much about this, and it's really a significant part of our history, and I think it is important to teach it to them. And I just want to thank all of you for coming and for our panel, and if you guys would hang around for a few minutes, I'd like to say goodbye to you. And thank you all for coming.
Okay, we're here. Excuse me. Okay, you see where the field is over here? That's where we used to have the garden. And every summer, all the kids had to go, and we all had a section of the garden. And instead of playing like little girls and little boys were supposed to, we were out there slaving in the garden in the hot, hot sun. Sometimes we would be there for hours and hours. We would first plant, and then we would weed the garden, and then we would when it was time to pick, we had to pick, and we had bushels of peas, and we would have to be on the high walk, and we would all be sitting around. We had to shell the peas for hours and hours, bushels upon bushels. Today I don't like peas like from the fresh peas. Or sometimes they would take you by your ear and take you, do something like that. Mm-hmm. And also, huh?
Soap.
Yeah, they would put soap. I remember having soap put in my mouth, but I forgot what I did.
Must have been swearing.
No, I don't. No, I did. I don't swear. But you know what? When my oldest girl, Marie, she swore at me. You know what I did? I went to the bathroom, got the soap, and I did that. You know what? And she never swore again. It was. I mean, you did get used to the rules, and you did get used of all the people and all the girls, but we didn't even, like when I first came here, I didn't even know I had two brothers, and I had a sister.
And they were here too?
No, they came 2 years after I did, and I had some aunts and uncles, but we didn't associate we couldn't. They wouldn't even let me play with Alberta, and she was in my building. And so it's like it was a harsh place to live, and well, I didn't think about it until later. My oldest sister said it was like living in jail here, and it really was, because you were confined.
So why did Grandma and Grandpa get rid of you guys?
Well, I think because they were very poor, and at the time my dad was drinking, my mom was working 2 jobs, and she just didn't know what to do with every time she had one of us. There was 7 of us at the time, and we all went in. My mother came to visit me sometimes on Sundays. We would go to the visiting parlor, but that was a horrible place. It was not kept up at all. My mom didn't stay there very long. She just seemed like she wasn't there for very, very long.
So
but
what would she ask?
She didn't ask anything. We didn't learn anything from my mother. She didn't ever try to teach us any. Even when we got older, when I would go to visit her at home, she never taught us anything, and she never told us why she did what she did. Even though, we were poor and everything, she still could have kept us home, but I don't know why. So I never was upset about it, really. I mean, I never was mad at my mom about it, or got, or was being hateful or anything about it. Even though you kind of give up your children, as you shouldn't, just not have anything to do with them, and then after they die, it's like, what did I learn from my own mother? What did she teach me? Nothing. She still could have taught me something when I would go to visit her, but she never did.